My name is Don Tenney, and I'm a member of the Lindon First Ward. I was a missionary in Argentina as a young man. Back then we served 2.5 years because they didn't have a language training mission. And so after 2.5 years, I came home, and the whole 2.5 years I was thinking about where I would find Sister Tenney. And I knew I wanted to have a strong Latter-day Saint girl, and I hoped that she was preparing herself to be married in the temple as I was trying to prepare myself as a missionary to be in the temple. Came home, met her the very first night I got off my mission. The stake president called me into his office. We got through with our interview, and he said, "Elder Tenney, I hear music upstairs. I think they have a young single adult dance. Why don't you go up and see what you can do?" I knew exactly what to do with a referral after 2.5 years. So I went upstairs and talked to a friend of mine, and all of a sudden, this beautiful young Latter-day Saint girl comes in wrapped around the arms of some other not-so-good Latter-day Saint young man. And I said to him, "Who is that?" He says, "That is Terry Milne." I said, "I need to meet her." He said, "Why? She's going with another guy." Not important to me, want to meet her. And so we met each other, and it was wonderful. I looked at her, and I knew she looked at me, and I knew her boyfriend noticed something too. And we started talking, and then right away he said, "It's time to leave." So they left. Called her up the next morning, asked her out for a date. She wouldn't go with me. I thought, what did I do wrong? But anyway, that is further on in the story. But we both wanted to marry in the temple. It had been our goal all of our lives, and we did marry in the Los Angeles temple, September 2nd, 1964. And one of the things I remember from a young man about the temple that blessed my life, I'm so old that I remember hearing a story from President David O. McKay when he came and he spoke about the temple. He said, "I have been a general authority and a member of the Quorum of the 12 for almost 60 years. And he said, I never get tired of going to the temple. I learn something every time I go." And I said to myself, wow, if the prophet says that, what should I say? I should say, I better go often, and I better learn something every time I go. So we made that my goal, and we discussed that before our marriage, and that became her goal. The temple became a very important part of our lives. And we tried to go as often as we could. And one funny story that came from that is we always wanted to have a large family. I wanted to have 12 children. And in our courting, I found out she wanted to have 12 children. I told her, "Terry, this will never work." She said, "What do you mean it'll never work?" I said, 24 is out of the question. So we decided on 12. But anyway, we talked to our children all the time about the importance of the temple. And back then we lived in San Diego, and we had to drive to Los Angeles to go to the temple, which we did. And the children loved it. We prepared them for when we were gone and at the temple. But the children had meetings too. We never missed family home evening through all of our years of marriage. And they would get together and meet sometimes to see how mom and dad were doing. And one time, after a particularly tough week, our oldest boy came to us and said, "Dad, we've had a discussion, and we think it's time for you and Mom to go back to the temple. You're always better parents after you've been to the temple." We said to each other, wow, pretty good coming from them. And so we made that our goal, to do that. We went to the temple as frequently as we could. In his house, we have learned to be an eternal family and have that be our goal. And we work on it every day. We go to the temple every week, and it's made a difference.